Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in my last video I talked about why I don't really do hauls on my YouTube channel anymore. One of the reasons is that it's very hard to do a haul that's worth watching with also shopping ethically or sustainably, so I decided why don't I actually talk about how to shop better. There are so many great people that do work or educate other people on why the system that we live in exploits people, the planet. However, I think a lot of people that are new to learning about this stuff tend to get lost with how to actually do better. So I'm going to give you some tips that I thought of not only on my own, but also through the resources I've looked at and how you can shop better. And these are things I do too. I do want to point out that not everyone is perfect. There's no point in expecting yourself to be perfect when humans are born imperfect. So instead of aiming to shop perfectly, the better standard for yourself is just doing better than you have in the past. Another thing I wanted to point out is that even though a lot of people talk about fast fashion, when we also talk about overconsumption and unethical shopping, fashion is not the only industry that is affected by bad business practices. However, because of its pervasiveness in pop culture, it is the one that most people tend to focus on, and I think a few of my examples are mainly about fashion as well. So tip number one is simply just don't buy things that you don't need. Overconsumption comes from the practice where people buy things that they don't need and therefore don't use them for their whole lifetime and then just end up throwing it away so that they feel less cluttered in their house. But also our constant cycle of buying new things just to get rid of them to get even newer things, I think creates this cycle of you buy new things to be a new person. If you've ever seen ads surrounding New Year's, then you know that so many products are pushed to you because we are told that they will make us new people or better people, but that simply isn't true. There's no such thing as morality tied to how much money you have or what kind of products you have. You can start journaling daily in a 50-cent notebook you got from Target or from a $25 notebook you got from Amazon. It doesn't matter because you're still journaling daily. And something else I wanted to add is that a lot of people these days are trying to find their identity with products that they buy, and that's how they're trying to relate to other people, which just makes us less and less individualized than I think society used to be. Because now you're not friends because you both like art, you're friends because you have the same Stanley Cup, which is just kind of a weird way to relate to your friends. So if you buy stuff based off of an ad instead of having a necessity for the product, there's a chance that you won't use it for very long or that you even needed it in the first place. A lot of people are trying to normalize buying a whole new wardrobe just for vacation, and I don't get that because I was on a 3-week vacation during the summer, not to brag, but like I didn't really buy that much in preparation for it because I knew that I would want to save my money instead and just buy stuff there. Number two is to buy with more intention than you're used to. A lot of people are so quick to just buy something because they saw some influencer wearing it. In my last video, I talked about how there are people who make the word gatekeeping mean someone not linking like a product in their storefront, which is just such a misuse of the word. But also, it's such an entitled attitude to have. Like, it's so easy to find things nowadays if you don't know how to Google. As bad as Google is becoming, it's still a useful tool. And if you don't know how to use it, then I don't know how you even exist. But one of the first things to do when you're shopping is if it's something new, you should look at the brand's reputation, hear from people you know personally, or non-paid reviews. Undisclosed sponsorships are so prevalent these days that it's hard for some people to tell what's an ad and what's not. One of the ways that I can tell if an ad is undisclosed from an influencer is just if they're overly positive about a product and don't point out even a little detail that they don't like. I suggest going to people you know personally about a product instead of reviews online because so many reviews these days are paid. Even the ones that just say, here's a link to buy the product, a lot of people will make money from those links and just don't tell their audience, so they are still being paid if you buy the product. Also, once you've decided that you do actually need something, it's important to distinguish why you're buying something over another option. Are you buying this shirt because it's trendy, or are you buying it because it fits you well and it's made of organic cotton? So it's best to buy a product based on how it will work for you instead of how it'll change your perception to others. Try shopping in person first always and try on clothing when you can. It's unfortunate that a lot of ethical brands can't afford to have physical stores. So whenever you're buying online, take a tape measure and then do body measurements or also measure clothing that you already have that fits you, and that way you'll be able to buy the right size when shopping online. Tip number 3, ignore greenwashing. If you don't know what greenwashing is, it's a set of deceptive marketing practices that make you think that a product does better for the planet than it actually does. An example of greenwashing is how some fast fashion brands like H&M will have little green tags on their clothing that tells you that it's made of 50% recycled polyester or this is made of organic cotton. And while that's great that materials are being recycled or that the cotton an item was produced out of was organic, that also ignores the fact that that's just a tiny percent of what a brand sells. If a brand makes an ethical line of their products, that shows that they know how to do better, but they just choose not to for the rest of their product line. Not to mention that it's wasting paper on an extra tag that doesn't even need to exist. Another thing that greenwashing ignores is how the people who made the product are treated. According to Forbes, Italian police found that some workers in Dior factories had to sleep in the factory in order to be available for work 24 hours a day, some of them even working over holidays. They cited a specific example where a $2,800 handbag only cost them $57 to make, and that's a markup of 48 times. Not to mention that safety devices had been removed from manufacturing equipment so that workers were able to operate at a faster rate. So I don't even care if a shirt is made from recycled garbage if that means their employees didn't get a bathroom break. Tip number 4 is to shop secondhand first. A lot of people know about thrift shops, and while those are great, that's not the only way you can shop secondhand. One of the first things you can do is, again, talk to people you know, see if they have what you're looking for that they'd be willing to sell to you or even give to for free. Because of my overconsumption, I often have things that I don't need, but I will find people I know personally to give them to that will use it up and enjoy it more than I ever did. So you can go to a physical store like Buffalo Exchange or Plato's Closet, or you can go on websites like eBay, Depop, Mercari, and Facebook Marketplace. And Facebook Marketplace is more of like a neighborhood or city centric where you just pick it up in person instead of someone shipping it to you. If you buy used clothing from a site like Depop, that allows you to support someone else who either does thrifting for their job or just already has it in their closet, and that allows you to support an individual instead of a large thrift chain. So when you're shopping secondhand, not only do you get it at a much lower price than you would get it new, you also get to extend the product life, because if that person just didn't have anyone to give it or sell it to, then it would go in the trash even though it was a very perfectly usable product. Things to do if you have to buy new. I use the site Goodonyou, which I also mentioned in my last video. No, they're not paying me. I've just used their site for I think a few years now. But their site allows you to find alternatives to brands that you already shop at, or you can learn more about the brands that you already shop at in case that they are doing something good. Like I mentioned before with buying online, you want to look at the size chart and measure so that you can get something that fits best for you. There's also this one store that makes all their clothing out of either hemp or cotton, and it looks pretty cool because they allow you to upload your measurements to their website, so they kind of make the clothing items specifically to fit for you. The only thing left I can think of is to manage who you follow on social media. Social media is so hard to get away from, so it's best if you just choose the people you follow carefully instead of just anyone who looks pretty or has the life that you want. Is there an influencer that you love but just keeps doing undisclosed sponsorships or has been caught lying about a product that they show? There's a good chance that you should just not support them and not follow them. Follow people that are honest about their reviews, are honest when they're being paid for a review, and also care deeply about the things that you also care about. If you think I missed anything, leave a comment. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!